in pursuit of health and wisdom. Sapio with Buck Joffrey.
Hey everyone, it's Buck Joffrey here from Sapio. As a physician, I've been getting a lot of questions lately on what exactly happened to Bronny James the other day. Now, Bronny, he's the 18-year-old eldest son of Lebron James, and he's a freshman basketball player over at USC. Apparently, earlier in the week, or this might be later now for you, he lost consciousness during a workout, and it was determined at that time that he actually underwent cardiac arrest. In other words, his heart stopped. Okay, so first, I just want to be clear. I don't know at all exactly what happened to Bronny, but I just want to speak broadly to how in the world a young athlete who's like Bronny can suddenly have a heart that stops. Well, first of all, what is cardiac arrest? It just means that the heart has stopped beating. The heart, as you know, is a muscle. It's a muscle that pumps blood throughout the body, and it does so by coordinated electrical signals that typically start at areas called nodes. Now, in the normal heart, that electrical activity coordinates the precise timing of contraction of the various compartments of the heart to keep the heart smoothly pumping blood through the body and keeping you alive. The electrical activity relies on the muscle of the heart being healthy. Otherwise, if they're not healthy, the signals can get screwed up. And that screwed up electrical activity can cause abnormal beating of the heart, and that is called an arrhythmia. Not all arrhythmias are life-threatening. However, if you can imagine for a moment an elegant series of electrical currents suddenly being disrupted, all hell can break loose. So why would that happen? Well, we've been talking a lot about cardiovascular disease in older people on this podcast. When the blood vessels of the heart narrow enough, there is a risk that you eventually get a total blockage of a vessel. And when that happens, the muscle that normally gets blood from the blood vessel may die or get damaged, and that is called a myocardial infarction, or otherwise known as a heart attack. So when a person has a heart attack, electrical activity may get disrupted, and that person's heart could stop for that reason as well. Now, if they survive a heart attack, they could still develop scar tissue that creates arrhythmias that need medical intervention. But let's go back to Bronny, because he's obviously, he's an 18-year-old athlete. It's very, very unlikely he has anything remotely close to atherosclerosis, but he did have sudden cardiac arrest. And again, I just want to point out that I don't know exactly what happened to Bronny, but I do have to tell you that on a medical board exam, the most likely answer to the case of a young athlete having sudden cardiac arrest during a workout would be something called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Now, that's a big word. So what the heck is it? Well, if you break the words apart, hypertrophic just means overgrowth. Cardio is the heart, and myopathy means, well, myo is muscle, myopathy is some problem with it. So again, that's hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And it's a condition where the heart muscle gets too thick and muscular. And unlike when you get ripped arms and legs, overly ripped heart muscles are not a good thing. Specifically, when that heart muscle of the left ventricle, the chamber of the heart that pumps blood out through the rest of your body, gets too thick, its electrical activity can get altered and it can cause it to fail. And that is the reason for sudden cardiac arrest in young athletes, or at least one cause. In fact, that is the answer. If you ever go to medical school and you take the board exams afterwards to get your license, that's going to be the answer to that particular question on a board exam. Now, there are certainly other conditions that can cause sudden cardiac arrest in young athletes. You certainly have abnormalities of the heart vessels present at birth, or other inherited or congenital conditions as well. Early detection of these problems is key, and now, these days, cardiologists are now recommending not only a physical exam, but cardiovascular screening for children at around the age of 12 or so before playing organized sports. Now, these are typically questionnaires about symptoms like chest pain and loss of consciousness with exertion, but they also include some family history information because some of these problems are genetic. Now, getting back to Bronny, does having had this episode mean that's it for basketball for him? Not necessarily. In fact, last year, the USC basketball team center, I think his name was Vincent Iwuchukwu. I can't say that right, but anyway, I apologize for that. But as a center on USC last year, went into cardiac arrest and survived as well. That's kind of crazy, frankly, statistically. But thank God for USC. Obviously, they had those defibrillators ready to go. Now, Vincent is back with his team now after full recovery, but has, in the interim, had an implant that monitors his heart in real time and essentially acts as an internal defibrillator if needed. Well, hopefully Bronny makes it back too, regardless of what caused this to happen to him as well. And we're hoping for the best. Well, that's it for this health update from Sapio with Buck Joffrey. This is Buck Joffrey. If you like what I'm doing here, make sure you like, share, and subscribe.